Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Theatre Pitch podcast, the podcast where Sean Brady, Joe Ranchker, and myself, Jem Ralston, take an online encyclopedia article at random and then turn it into pitches for theatre shows. And then at the end of the show, we smush them together. How are you guys doing?
Yeah, pretty good, thanks. How are you?
Yeah, I'm great.
Are you impressed I got through the intro very concisely this week?
No, I'm still more reacting about the stuff we were talking about before the intro.
Hey, this is a reminder to you. If you want to pay for the Patreon for Theatre Pitch Podcast, you can hear such delights that we are not going to tell you about until you pay.
There you go. This is how capitalism works. This is how content creation works now.
Exactly. I mean, the fact that we now have to make the Patreon in order to satisfy the demand that doesn't exist. You know, that's capitalism as well.
They're going to do it, and then they're going to find out that it's just us talking about how to emulate Sega Rally.
And some people would enjoy that.
Yeah, some people really, really would. And good on you. So, Joe, handing over to you in a very apt radio voice, would you like to tell us and the audience what this week's article is all about?
Well, Jem, that's a good thing that you asked me that, because this week we're looking at 1960 in British radio. This is a list of events from British radio in 1960. We've got events, programme debuts, endings of shows. We've got continuing radio programmes. We've got births, and we've got death.
It was the driest article that was mainly just a link to other articles. It was a list of links. How did you guys find it?
Oh, great. I've got so much prepared. I'm very excited.
I'm in the same boat.
I've had like a really busy week. So it was like, you all know, like my laptop just was like, nah, I'm not working anymore. So like I have had like a day to think of this, and I thought of it in like 5 minutes. So I was like, yes. Like last night I was like, oh no, I've got nothing. I'm going to look like a fool. But now I've got something and I'm going to look like a fool.
Well, Sean, as you've actually got something, do you want to go first?
Thank you, Joe.
Oh, I shouldn't have said anything. Oh,
No, Sean, what you shouldn't have done is message us all last night saying, haha, I've got the best idea ever. So you were going to go first whether you liked it or not.
I was so excited because I was so worried because I was so behind on everything. And then that just like saved me like so much time. Right.
But here's the thing is that we know. You brag you've got a good idea. One of us will say you're going first. You say you don't have shit. One of us is saying you're going first. You say nothing. One of us is saying you're going first.
So ultimately the lesson is, Sean, go first.
Yeah.
Oh, God. Why do I have to be a trailblazer? Okay. So, 1960 in British radio. So, obviously, you go through it and there's not much there. So, I have looked at the programme debuts because I need to stop drinking Dr. Pepper before I do this show. And just burp. It's horrible.
We would like to point out what Sean just said there is he has to stop drinking carbonated beverage before he does the show.
So, my idea is based around an episode of Easy Beat, one of the programmes that debuted. Originally, my show was going to be Farming Today, but I couldn't work out how feasible it would be to get like goats and sheep and cows on stage and hitting their cues. That's the thing. They need to hit their cues correctly. And I didn't want to rely on a cow, like knowing like I need to come in and act too. So I went with Easy Beat. And from what I can gather, Easy Beat is it's think the one show of 60s radio. That's sort of what it is. It has some songs. It's just people just talking about one show things. We all know what the one show is. If we've got any American listeners, get your VPNs, go onto iPlayer and watch an episode of the one show. And yeah, good on, we all know what the one show is. So that's how I've sort of thought this is. So my idea is based around taking the sort of theatre style of... Has anyone heard of Mischief Theatre? Anyone?
Give the audience a little bit of a clue.
Okay, so, I mean, probably their most famous thing is they had a show in the West End called... what's it called? I had it up.
The Play That Goes Wrong.
No. Oh, they have The Play That Goes Wrong. They have the show about a bank robbery. And they also have a BBC show called The Goes Wrong Show. And the premise basically is it's a standard theatre show. So they do like The Nativity Goes Wrong as well. And the joke is that like they're doing it seriously. They're doing it professionally. But everything's going wrong around them. And they're just like carrying on, doing the best they can. So my show is, keep that vein, my show is I'm going to do an episode of Easy Beat verbatim. So the audio of my show is the audio of like an episode of Easy Beat. Yeah? Are we all on stage? But then what you're seeing on stage is them doing the show, but everything's falling around. Everything's going disastrous around them. But they're just trying to get it on. And because it's a radio show, it's like, as long as it sounds good, we'll get away with it. And that's my show. So it's like, it is verbatim, visually, no, not visually, audio of the actual show. And then the gag on stage is that it's all like a disaster. It's all a disaster. They're just trying to like fix one problem after another one, but it sounds perfect.
I like it, and I definitely think that there should be a cow and a sheep doing things on cue.
See, now my idea came from, you ever see like the classic like Blue Peter where they have animals on and it's a disaster? That's what I was thinking on stage, but like the radio show sounds perfect, and it could be. And like the gag could be like, oh, they're gonna have like someone on to sing, but then they get a note that person's not gonna be there, so they have to sing the song themselves, and they have to like try and find something that's gonna sound like a guitar, or like they're doing drums on like, I don't know, like whatever they could find
pots
in the
and
office.
Pans,
yeah. But it sounds,
I like it.
Sounds perfectly like the radio show.
I like it. I like it, and I like even more the idea that you can have a cow in a top hat just wandering around the back. No,
there wouldn't be a cow. There wouldn't be a cow in this. Well, I suppose there could be a cow.
I know,
in this one.
But you could have a cow.
There could be a sequel where it is farming today.
I do have to interlude here, Jem, that Bart Simpson was very clear that you don't have a cow.
Okay.
Like, he stated that very clearly.
Okay. All right. Well, okay. Joe, do you have any questions for Sean's pitch?
Yeah. I do have a question, Sean. How are you thinking of staging this?
Well, it's gonna be like I'm hoping like West End off West End. It's it's straight
is it going to
on.
be kind of like, is the stage set up realistically like a 1960s radio studio?
Yes.
Or are you going for more of a heightened effect?
No, it's a 1960s audio studio, radio studio. That's the gag, that they're just like, they're in there and everything starts falling around them, but they carry on because they're professionals and they're British.
True.
The thing I'm going for, and the reason why I've used Mischief Theatre, is because it's sort of, when you watch it, they sort of get it right. They sort of get it, but the joke always is that it's not quite right. Something goes wrong, but they carry on. So my joke is that like, what you're hearing is perfect, but what you're seeing is a disaster.
Yeah, I think that sounds fun as an idea.
That sounds really fun. Okay, Joe, you next.
All right, so I'm about to attempt something that has never before been done on theatre pitch, I think never been before done on podcasts, which is that for those of you who were listening last week, you'll remember that I took 5 different shows and attempted to smush them together into one show for the different shows of Popeye's Village.
Yeah.
What I'm about to do is, I thought, why bother trying to pitch a show this week when instead I could try and, off the top of my head, not read the article and ask Sean to read out for me all 32 radio shows that were airing in 1960 and do a one-line pitch off the top of my head for each of them.
Let me get
Okay.
the article up because I'm on.
So
I'm on the Mischief
I'm gonna
website.
I'm gonna allow myself the leeway that Sean's just pitched a show for Easy Beat, so we can move on and just do 31.
Okay.
So, Sean, when you're ready.
Sean, in the interest of keeping this podcast not a day long, do 5.
No, I want to do all of them.
Let's see where
And
we get.
I've already said it's off the top of my head. Whatever comes out of my mouth, that's it.
I feel like this is actually the elaborate pitch for Joe's show, and Joe's show is just this.
Yep.
Joe, he's improv, ain't he? He's literally doing an improv show within an improv show
That's me.
within a podcast.
Yeah.
Right, okay.
But yeah,
so
Sean,
the other
go.
debut show is Farming Today.
Right, Farming Today. Lad moves from the big city to a small town. He has lost the meaning of Christmas and he finds it through a girl that works at the farm with him.
Okay.
Next up.
And one of the ending shows is the Goon Show.
The Goon Show. This is all about a series of henchmen for different supervillains who team up to actually try and take them down from the inside and become the heroes.
Okay. Is that not Suicide Squad?
Probably, I don't know.
Yes,
You'd
do
know more than
Yes,
me.
you do
I
know.
talked through that entire film.
No, you sat there until someone said Suicide Squad and then you cheered.
Yeah, we did.
Educating Archie.
Archie is, in fact, a 30-year-old man who he's just revealed that actually he's faked all his qualifications and he has to try and get every degree he was meant to have got in one day.
Okay.
Every degree. Okay.
Yeah,
Degree.
all his GCSEs,
Yeah.
all his ASs, all his A-levels,
Oh,
university,
qualifications, not
postgrad,
degrees.
PhD. He's got 24 hours to do all of them.
Take it from here.
Take it from here. It's just about some people measuring something and they're trying to work out where it goes from where to where.
That's my favourite one. It's just someone on the stage
It's
with,
just 90
with
minutes
tape
of people
measures.
measuring the stage.
Oh, 2 meters.
It just feels like the pitch that I pitched the other episode.
Yeah, but that one was one line instead of 20 minutes.
Okay.
Oh,
In
shots
town.
fired.
In town.
In town tonight.
Oh, in town tonight. Ooh.
Tonight.
That's about a biker gang that roll into town and the one sheriff that's got to try and get them out.
Okay. Music
See, I
while
think-
you work.
Music while you work. This is actually nothing to do with the title. It's a family drama about a man who's trying to tell his mom that he's realised that he's adopted and that she's lied to him for many years. The title has nothing to do with this. I don't know why it's called that.
Sunday half hour.
People wake up and find that for some reason Sunday has become half an hour. Where'd the other 23 and a half hours go? Find out in the play.
Quick question.
Yes.
Quick question. So you're pitching shows for all of these shows. Are
Yep.
we going to have to remember this and then smush all of those into the shows at the end?
No, we're gonna forget Joe's. Let's be honest.
So Joe, is this
Joe's is an improv
is this
show.
your pitch? Is this your pitch? Are you commandeering the Theatre Pitch podcast?
Probably. Aren't I always? Sean, next one, please.
Desert
no,
Island
no.
Discs.
Desert Island Discs. It's basically stealing the idea from Easy Beat. It's just an episode of Desert Island Discs on the stage. Next one, please.
One more. Let's do
you
one
just
more.
stole my idea.
Yeah, I stole your idea after also cheating out of doing an idea there.
Family favourites. Love
Ooh,
alliteration.
Family favourites. That's a play about a family who adopt 3 dogs, and then 2 of them go missing, and the other dog has to find them.
Oh, is that using actual dogs or
Using
is that
actual
people in
dogs.
costumes?
They're very well trained.
So we're not going to go with Sean's sheep and cows on cue, but we are going to give deep emotional roles to dogs.
Yeah, to 3 dogs. Yes.
Like
Next
Okay,
up.
I'm just gonna skip a couple, and we're just gonna go for some ones that I want to see you do. Okay.
Okay.
So, Housewife's Choice.
Housewife's choice. A housewife has to choose between 2 of her children after a home invader puts a gun at their heads.
Okay.
Wow. Wow.
Woman's Hour.
Woman Tower is a discussion of why that last play was such a bad idea.
Okay. Raise a Laugh.
Pardon, what was that?
Raise a Laugh.
Okay, is that as in raise a laugh, not razor laugh?
No, as in like Ray is a laugh. He's
Okay,
he's
I thought you were
fun
saying
guy to
razor
be
laugh
around.
for a second. In fact,
Oh,
yeah,
you know
it's
what?
that.
Why are you not
Ray
used
wakes
to my
up one
accent?
day. Yeah, Ray wakes up one day and finds that every time he laughs, he shoots razor blades from his mouth. It's a kind of Kafka-esque piece about Tourette's.
It's Edward Scissorhands, but worse.
Ray Razormouth, yeah.
The test match special.
Test match special. It's a kind of musical in the vein of 38th annual Putnam Spelling Bee, but instead it's based around the Ashes, and it's just singing cricket players.
You got the cricket. I thought, is he gonna know? Let's go for.
You assume
one.
so little of me.
I know. When it comes to sport, like I do like Joe knows Wigan. That's what I know.
Yeah.
Okay, your 100 best tunes.
100 best tunes. This is it's very similar in a way actually to my pitch for Irving Kane Pond, I think it was, where my idea is that in fact this is about someone who's obsessively cataloguing the best pop culture in their life while actually ignoring living their existence. It's also partially autobiographical.
Okay, last one.
Last one. Hopefully it's a cheery one.
My word.
My word.
It's got an
Okay.
explanation point, so.
Oh, my
I'm not allowed
word?
to use it. My word.
Oh! Well, this is a classic farcical piece about a man who writes he's writing a letter to his mom explaining why he's fallen out of love with his wife and he's divorcing her, and writing a letter to his wife explaining why he doesn't want to go to his mother's for Christmas dinner, and he accidentally mails them to the wrong people. My word! And he has to try and chase down the post boxes to try and stop the letters getting delivered. And to pitch one last show, those were my pitches. Any questions?
Could you recap them all for us?
No. If you didn't know, by the way, everyone, it should be pointed out that's a great joke because one of the shows that was continuing in 1960s radio was called Any Questions. Just explaining the joke if you didn't get it.
I mean, explaining the joke, does that mean that does that mean it's still funny?
Yes.
Okay. So,
And
Joe, I don't...
because I'm anticipating the first question, Sean, the Lawrence Batley Theatre in Huddersfield.
Thank you.
I'm still confused as to what actually your pitch is.
It's all of those shows.
Is it like the One Axe Festival?
Yeah, it's an evening of one-act festivals of its 32 3-minute plays. Each of those plays is 3 minutes long. Let's see what happens. Do many of them have endings? No.
Can they stay as radio plays as well? People just come on stage and just talk.
Oh yeah, it's all entirely delivered by actors into microphones.
The great thing about this is anybody listening who doesn't work in a lot of theatre or in a lot of theatre ideas rooms is sitting there going, this is ridiculous. No, there's far more planning and thought that goes into ideas for successful shows. This is quite literally how at least some, but most likely more than some of the industry actually works.
And you know what? Sometimes gold comes from this sort of thing.
It's true.
Did it come from gold today? Probably not. No.
A couple of decades ago, Andrew Lloyd Webber's there, and he's like, "You know what, guys? I came here on a train. Now stick with me, right? But what about if we put some blades, like them roller blades, under some actors, and then we just turn them into trains?" And everyone was like, yes, let's do that.
His pitch was basically, what if my train was in the future and horny?
Yep.
And someone was like, finally, there's a light at the end of the tunnel.
I still haven't seen the Starlight Express, no, and every time you guys bring it up, I get more fearful to watch it. It's not a case of you
really
encouraging
weird.
Me, it's you wanting me.
I don't understand how he got that. Like, I don't understand how that's so, successful.
No one does. To be honest,
it toured Europe. It's probably still going.
I'm going to say it now. I wasn't surprised when people thought the movie of Cats was bad. I don't think the musical's good.
Whoa. The musical's got a big following. Right. Now, it's not my cup of tea.
It's got one song!
Yeah, well, Memories is a good song.
Okay, so, shall I do my pitch? I don't think it's going to be any better than Joe's.
It's certainly not going to have the same quantity.
We hope not, though I have got a history of being quite verbose, so we can always try. But
verbose. Jem.
Yes, I like the word verbose. And I like being verbose. Okay, so my idea was very much because I struggled. I'll be honest, I struggled, and I'm gonna somewhat wing some of this pitch, but I've got the basis of an idea.
It's pretty unprofessional to turn up to this without having prepared anything.
I have prepared things. I have written down the name of a practitioner who helped me get to the idea and who inspired the idea, and then the name of a show in which style that I quite think would be great for it. So,
she's totally robbing my structure for season 2.
Just wait till she starts turning up with the idea being Just Wing It and the name of a local theatre.
So, my idea is, there's a theatre practitioner called Katie Mitchell, which some people learn about at school, some people don't. And Katie Mitchell is an amazing director who does a lot of things where she crosses multimedia and with theatre and marries them in quite an interesting way. And one of the things that she does, or she did for one of the shows, was essentially, and apologies if I'm remembering this wrong for anybody who's a diehard Katie Mitchell fan, but she took a film crew and a film set and put that on stage, and the focus of what the audience were kind of pulled towards focusing on was actually the mechanics of the big machine that is a film crew and how they all work together. So it wasn't so much the scenes that they were shooting, it was how they were operating on stage and how the different teams work together. And if you've ever been on a film set, you'll know just how kind of mechanical it is, in a really satisfying way. And so this idea of taking the back end of this finished project and showing that back end and bringing that back end to the foreground is something I was really interested in for this idea with this radio, because this article was very much talking about stuff that if you were in radio, or especially if you were in radio at the time, this is the stuff that you'd know because it's part of your industry, and it's very much industry based. There are a lot of people mentioned in it and things are mentioned in it. The one event mentioned in the article is about a committee that is very to do with the industry. So I wanted to look at that. And so my idea is it's end on. You've got two tiers. So up essentially at the level of the gods, you have got your radio host doing their show in their booth. So you've got the radio booth, right? So that's there as almost as a background, as it were. And the thing that's at the foreground is the back end of the show. So I went on a tour on one of the ships that are in London that has a big radio mast on it. One of the most interesting things about that was talking to the guys about how they work the radio frequencies and how they speak through the radio and all of the back end stuff. So it's essentially a radio studio that we'll see. It's set in the 60s. And if you've ever seen the TV show by Aaron Sorkin's Studio 60 on the Sunset Strip, where it's very much focusing on the back end of making Saturday Night Live or an akin-like show, it's got that kind of style of you're trying to make a show and this radio show is happening above everything and everybody's working towards this show, but then you get the news to the producers about this committee being formed and all of these events that are within this article are happening. So then you hear the news of the deaths, and somebody comes in saying, oh, their cousin had a baby and they're called the person that was born in that year. And it incorporates all of these events that happened, and it's very much sort of encapsulating 60s radio in a functional piece, but we're focusing more on the back end and the people who create and radio and how they did it, especially at that time, with a show that's at the back, at the top. That's my idea. Thank you, Katie Mitchell and Aaron Sorkin.
So my first question.
What was Katie Mitchell's show that you was on about with the film crew?
I think it was Waves, but I might have, because I know Waves had a lot of cameras on it. I will find it for you before you publish the podcast, and so people can look in the description for that. It was a really, really interesting show, and she also has an amazing book on directing theatre. If anybody is interested in that, it is an amazing piece of writing and actual practical advice. Just top tips. That's why we come here to the Theatre Pitch podcast, right?
So I do need to check one thing. When you say it's inspired by Studio 60 from the Sunset Strip, it's going to be better than that, yeah?
I enjoyed it totally. What I mean by that is that like it's the fast-paced sense of Aaron Sorkin. It's the everything is happening, and when one person walks out the room, another person immediately enters, and it's always going, rather than having a show that is quite static and still and that sort of masticates over its own sense, as you could go with this idea of let's put some engineers and some technology about waveforms and radio waves at the forefront of it. No, it's nothing like that. It is about the people and the function that they played within this machine that is broadcast radio.
Yeah, so it's a show about the production and not the show.
Yeah.
I get it. It's it reminds me of, like, you ever watch that episode of The Thick of It in like the last season where it's based around an episode on radio, and it's all about and it's all focused on like the chaos that's going on in like the green room.
Yes.
And then like in the one room, it's just like a normal radio show. It's a bit like that. Like I'm bringing it down a level. But yeah, like the focus is on the backstage and the stories and the making of. And I think it looked really cool that you've got the show there. Like you see what they're making.
Yeah. And that's kind of out in the background, you know, as when you work on film sets, when you work in radio, there's always, you can hear roughly very quietly in the background all the time of what's actually being broadcast at that time, so that everybody can be aware of the schedule and what's coming on. So that's kind of like the soundtrack, is this radio show that's happening from the gods, is the background noise that happens as people are having their meetings with the committees, and they're having, you know, the dealing of, oh, this person's died, we should really not post something on social media because that didn't exist, but we should really put something out as a RIP kind of thing.
Oh, this person's died, we should post everybody. Send a telegram to everyone, inform them someone has died.
So like it's like so like, you know, when you watch the news and you see like the glass behind them and like the people working, Gemma's story is about the people working.
Yeah, it's the guy playing Gallagher in the background. Yeah.
Look at Gemma making a pop culture reference. Look at you.
I'm growing. I'm just like Captain America. I'm growing.
And if you like that joke about someone playing Gallagher and you instead want to hear John Gallagher playing characters, listen to Boat Club.
Well done. Right.
Never misses a
Gem's show. I like it, Gemma. I like it. It's very similar to mine, a little bit. So
does it pass the test of actually being theatre?
Oh yeah,
yeah,
Gem.
I mean, it depends. Is it all just actually filmed by a dog with a GoPro this week?
If we weren't in the 60s, yes, I'm gonna try and fit a GoPro with that is operated by a dog or a cat into every show I ever do from now on.
This year, this is Gem's thing. You know, for anyone who's following last season, it was Evil Water. This year, it's GoPro Dog.
Don't bring
It's true. It's true. I'm gonna commit. One day
We're
I'm just gonna
building
turn
up
up
the
and there's gonna
Gem
be a dog.
theatrical universe.
Everybody gets a bee in their bonnet, and as creators we should be acting on the bees in our bonnets, and clearly my bee in my bonnet is I really need to strap a dog to a GoPro, not a GoPro to a dog, and see what happens. I don't even have to own the dog or know the dog. I feel beware,
like
dog walkers in my area.
Know the dog.
Yeah, you should definitely know the dog.
I should know the dog, but not the dog owners.
For no other reason than it's great to know dogs.
Just not the dog owners.
Oh yeah, we don't need to know the dog's owner, just the dog.
Yeah.
Okay, this is getting creepy, guys. Now let's just smush some stuff together and go home.
Right.
Yeah.
Before Jen starts kidnapping dogs and strapping cameras to them, let's smush.
Right, so can we all just like agree one thing before we do this? Right. Joe's stuff isn't involved in this whatsoever, is it?
I think technically the kind of theory of it could be.
If you
because
you say
hey,
the kind
Sean,
of theory because you forgot your idea.
Yes. I remember one of them also involved dogs.
I think
family favourite. Yeah.
All right, I think what we do is we go with the setup that I had, which is the show is going on in the background, and then the foreground is the behind the scenes stuff. But instead of it being Studio 60 in the Sunset Strip style, fast-paced documentary kind of thing of the happenings of the article, we go with Sean's idea where everything's going wrong. And the producers just have to sit there and make sure that the show must go on no matter what. And the show, so upstairs in that little booth, is just Joe talking.
It's Boat Club.
See, my pitch was going to be actually that essentially kind of a similar thing. But what we have is we kind of use a piece of site-specific theatre. And it's about your idea, but one room is just, it could be me or an actor basically playing me, is just there pitching for an hour and a half new ideas for radio shows.
And then like it's all going wrong in the booth.
Yep, it's all going wrong in the booth. Behind the scene, kind of the show was about to go on, the big show, and then suddenly the lead actors had a heart attack in the car park of Broadcasting House. I
like it.
It's just all going to shiz.
It's all going.
Joe. It's just Joe doing all the voices of the Archers because all the actors have died.
It's site specific as well and slightly immersive. So the audience members, the producer turns around and thinks like an audience member is the new intern, and that person needs to go and do the translation.
If you're wondering, by the way, my pitch for the Archers: Romeo and Juliet with bows.
Joe.
Yeah.
You know in your idea you was like me or an actor playing me.
Yeah.
Can I ask who do you think would get to play you?
I think the only person who could capture my natural charisma would be multiple Tony and Olivier winning actor Mark Rylance. He's the only one.
So we need a budget.
It's either me or Mark Rylance. That's all.
I think we've got a better chance of getting Mark Ryland.
Okay, so
different show then.
We have two different smushes this week, rather than because I think both of those smushes are viable. One's a little bit havocy, and the other's a show, but perfectly viable.
One's a disaster. One's a show.
One is inviting the audience into an anxiety attack. The other is a feasible form of entertainment.
With Mark Ryland.
Fielder's choice. We can offer that to the audience of like, what experience do you want this evening?
Hey,
There's
how
one
much
with the
anxiety do you
cushion
feel
chair
in
and
your
ice cream.
daily life? How much would you like to feel?
I think
then
in
come
a time
and watch
where
my
everybody's...
improv comedy. Here's the flyer.
Have you seen the film Uncut Gems? Did you like the feeling that you were witnessing a panic attack? Live it.
That is the life of a producer. And then in the flyering process, Joe's sat there with the name of the show, but every time he flyers somebody, he's pitching a different show.
Joe, you and me have actually sat in a show that feels like a panic attack. Do you ever remember Nightmare? You ever remember that show we went into by accident?
Oh, not Nightmare Live. Yeah.
Not Nightmare Live, not with a K. Nightmare.
Oh, yeah, I remember.
If you went into a show entitled Nightmare, what the hell did you expect?
It was a free fringe show. There was meant to be another show in that room, but I got the dates mixed up.
It was meant to be light-hearted improv, and we walked into a show about like murder and rape.
Basically, there were 26 days, I think, on this schedule. There was a different thing on from 1 to 12. The improv show took over on day 14, and this show was on for one day.
So, was the show actually called Nightmare, or is it just
Yeah.
that's what you
think
guys
it
remember
must
it
have
being? Is that
been.
it's a nightmare?
Have we never told you this story?
We've told you this story
Oh
before,
no, you've
Jen.
told me this story multiple times. I love this story. The story encapsulates perfectly why I love The Fringe.
Hang on. How long we got? Okay, we're on 47 minutes. Okay, I'll tell this story. So me and Joe, we're at the Fringe. We've got like 3 hours to spare. We're like, oh, we'll see a show. So we get the free Fringe book out. We're like, okay, what's near us? And Joe's like, oh, there's gonna be this improv thing happening in 10 minutes in this place that's like round the corner.
Obviously, we're thinking to ourselves, oh, who wants to go see improv comedy? Not me.
But there was nothing else on. We thought light-hearted improv, kill an hour. We've got 10 minutes. We'll be there on time. Easy peasy. So we get there. We get into the room. And we're like, oh, the door's shut. And cause we're like in a rush, we think, oh no, maybe it's just about to start. Let's go in. We open the door, and it's just like darkness with like a red there, a green there, and like there's only 2 chairs left that we can see, and one's on one side, one's on the other side. So we split up because like it's
luckily
dark.
these chairs are right at the back of the room, so we can. We can. It's not like we're strolling up to the front of the audience like, ho ho, improv time.
Yeah, and then like so we get there, we sit down, shut the door, and then like I don't know about Joe, but for about the first 5 minutes of like people screaming, like and like they weren't just like it was like rape, murder. I've been abused.
I'm thinking to myself at this point, wow, this is really interesting improv. Like, I wonder what they're going to do next.
Yeah, it was about 5 minutes, but I thought, okay, this isn't a bit. This isn't like
this is not an extended bit.
Yeah, this wasn't a suggestion from the audience. It could have been long form. We didn't know, but we was expecting light-hearted improv, and it was like 30 minutes of this just like I don't know, like A-level student thinking he's edgy with just horrible lighting. I think that offended me the most. It was just no need.
You feel something in your hand. It feels spherical, like a pair of balls. But these aren't juggling balls. They're your father's balls.
What?
As far as I remember, a genuine quote from the play.
I just had flashbacks.
I just remember you guys were so smug because I was going off by myself to watch a pretentious piece of art, and you guys were like, we're gonna go have fun. And then when I met up with you after this show, you both were like, because I was like, oh, how much fun did you have? Because I had a blast with this amazing, beautiful, mind-blowing show, and you guys were just like, no. We couldn't sum it up if we wanted to.
I think the thing is that ultimately, what we gained there was an experience greater than any number of average improv shows. So.
It's true. Would you have ever remembered the light-hearted improv compared to this show? They made an impact.
Oh, I remember the terrible shows far more than I remember the good things. And that's one problem of my brain.
The Fringe. As much as I love the Fringe, and I tell everyone like, "Oh, the Fringe is amazing," it's like the mecca of theatre performance. It's full of great stuff. You're gonna learn so much. As much as I say that to everyone, it is full of shit as well. And sometimes
and that's the
I
joy
think
of
I
it.
enjoy watching the shit as much as I enjoy watching the good.
I just feel bad for the people that we drag along to Edinburgh, which is not necessarily close to anything. But we drag them along, and they're only there for a very brief period of time, and we've accidentally scheduled, like, the majority of the shows are quite bad, and, you know, they turn to me years later and say, why do you like that thing? So... But the Edinburgh Fringe Festival is so much fun and full of gold, even if it is gold poo.
And do you know what? If nothing else, you can get a great selection of vegetable curries from Mosque Kitchen, and Sean can get his Mass
Jacket
Chain
potato.
Southern Fried Chicken from across the road.
Bagels on the corner.
Potato place, man.
Yeah, Baked Potato
potato
Shop,
place.
Elephants and Bagels, Pie Master.
I'm so hungry now. Oh my goodness. Okay, before we tempt anybody to scarper up to the north of the UK and go and invade Scotland for their food, we're going to end the podcast because we've had 2 solid pitches. Joe's got a pitch that's also a pitch of 1,000 pitches, and then we've had 2 smushes. It sounds like we've had a really eventful night.
Yeah. My pitch I've now redecided is actually called Death by 1,000 Pitches.
It's a light-hearted improv show.
It's a light-hearted improv show that secretly is actually just everyone having a breakdown.
Yeah, like the producers on my show.
Yeah. Yeah, my
And
theory
on
is
Sean's
that
show.
my theory is all our shows can take place in the same space. People can just choose what they're watching.
It's like a metaphor for life and how you handle situations. You can either let it get on top of you and have a panic attack.
Or
You can either choose to be like,
compartmentalise.
or you can just choose to embrace the chaos.
Or ultimately, what you are learning here about Jem and Sean is that they have accepted that there are some problems in life, aka me, that what you can just do is you can shove away up in a room, just up there in the top, and not think about.
This all sounds like we're getting
Until
back
Wednesday.
to this all sounds like the podcast that I do. So it's coming soon. It's called the Happiness Anonymous Podcast. This is my little pitch in for self promotion. Sean's
Gemma
on
plug
some
in?
of the episodes too. And Sean, do you wanna finish the podcast? This podcast.
I thought you were going to say, do you want me to plug it?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it's a podcast about happiness and about how much joy I bring people's lives.
And I'm not on it.
Turns out a lot, yeah, because I just make you sad, Joe. Right. Hey, Joe, you know why you go and find the Wikipedia page for next week? I'm going to tell everyone where they can find more of our fantastic content.
I'm waiting to find out what that is. I only know Online Encyclopedia.
There you go.
That's what... Oh,
I say that like I haven't slipped up and said it like 5 times an episode before.
I always forget. Like, we all know what it is. It's not ping, is it? We don't go on to, like...
Ask Jeeves.
Right. Hey, guys. So if you want to follow us, you know, like I say every week, like, you just Google One Foot in the Door or OFITD. You'll find us. You'll find us on Instagram. You'll find us on YouTube. You'll find us on Twitter. And what's the other one? Facebook. We've also got a... Yeah, we have got a Facebook.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, I know.
Whoa.
We've got a link. If you want to, you know, we've got a link tree. So you just click that, and it's in the description below because it's easier to put that in than to put them all in. That just comes up. It says, you know, where you can get the podcast, where you can get the new podcast, where you can see our website. It's just all there. Joe, have you found it yet, or do you need me to plug a little bit more?
Oh no, I've got it.
You got it.
Feel
Okay,
free
cool.
to keep plugging.
Okay, so if you want to, you know, I'll carry on. So if you want to follow me, it's still Shawnee B. I'm on Instagram. I'm on Facebook. I'm on Twitter. I might lie to you. It's probably all the same. I just copy and paste. And like, oh, look, I did things. If you want to follow Gemma on Instagram, Twitter. Hey, Gem, where can they follow you?
On Instagram, you can grab me on OFITD_Gem because I like branding. And on Twitter, I am Gem Roasted, I believe. Shows you how much I use Twitter.
Oh, it shows you how much you like branding. And Joe?
And if you want to find me on Instagram, don't. But if you want to find me on Twitter, you can do so at NotJoeRanchka. That's NotJoeRanchka. And
Best bit of the show.
guys, would you like to know what next week's episode is going to be based around?
I mean, considering what this episode was based around, I'm kind of a little bit nervous, but go ahead, rip the band-aid off.
All right. Next week is Intergalactic Dust.
Oh, space stuff!
Intergalactic dust is cosmic dust between galaxies in intergalactic space.
Oh, I like this.
What you basically heard me say was intergalactic dust is dust in between galaxies.
Oh, I'm so excited.
Yeah.
You're going to get full-on nerd gem next week.
And I did realise that earlier I forgot to mention that also, as well as having previously plugged the Book Club podcast, you can also find me on Canon Fodder with Joe and Joe. New episode coming soon.
It's not. It's not a new
It
episode.
might. I say that every time. I'm very hopeful.
We recorded it like a month ago.
I think that's it. I think that's being optimistic.
Right, let's
But
end
hey,
this.
as we
Hey.
head out,
Yeah.
I realised that there were 16 plays I didn't pitch. So here we go. Down Your Way. It's a play about an Australian man who moves to Brumley. Have
Bye,
a go.
everyone.
It's about that summer where I did every sport possible at a sports centre I was at. Letter from America. It's about a person who
See
receives
you
a
all
letter
in the
from
next
America.
episode. Bye, everyone.
Pitch out, bitches. 20 questions. It's me asking myself 20 times why I decided to commit to this bit. Mrs. Dale's Diary. It's like Mrs. Brown's Boys, but she's not from Ireland. The Billy Cotton Band Show. It's like Billy Lynn's Halftime Walk, but he is from Ireland. A Book at Bedtime. It's the audience get put to sleep.